ADHD as females, ADHD AF, ADHD as females, the podcast.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
Hi, I'm Laura, and we are ADHD AF. Seriously. We are two neurodivergent neighbours who moved to the same street at the same time, at the same age, with the same undiagnosed disability. What are the chances?
Since discovering the enormous impact ADHD has had on our lives and the horrifying numbers of missing undiagnosed females, it has become our mission to make some serious noise.
We want to use our voices to raise awareness, break the stigma, and share our experiences in the hope that they help others.
So join us for a chat, or as it's called up here in Aberdeen, a blether.
Trigger warning, we will be covering some really sensitive topics, so please do have a read of the description of each episode before listening.
It's important to note that we are not medical professionals, we're not therapists or coaches, we're not qualified to offer advice or support. What we will do is share our experiences alongside resources and information from professionals. We will talk over each other and we will go off topic and forget the point mid-sentence.
We are both assigned female at birth, which means that we can only speak from the experience of life as AFAB people. However, ADHD AF is an inclusive space. Whatever your gender, you are very welcome here.
Yes, you are.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF.
So we have got a very exciting bonus blether for you all. The wonderful Charlotte is an artist, and you might have noticed some pretty amazing illustrations. We might add very flattering illustrations of us for our Too Much Tour artwork. And this lady is the artist who created them.
They are so good. I absolutely love them. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. You absolutely
you're too kind.
legend.
Thank you for inviting me on the show.
Not at all. So Charlotte reached out to us a little while ago, offering her amazing skills. And we were just made up because it was exactly what we wanted at the exact moment. As ever, serendipity dealt us another hand.
Well, that's it. We were just starting to get everything kind of prepped for the tour. And obviously we needed some kind of artwork for our tour. And yeah, it just came at exactly the right time.
My timing is never this good. My timing's always off in every situation. So yeah, what a rarity. No, it's been a joy.
So tell us, Charlotte, why did you reach out to us?
Okay, well, at the minute I am trying to go for freelance as an illustrator. I'll go more into that later. But I think because I got my diagnosis a year and a half ago, Yay! And I've been listening, of course, to the podcast. And I think what really struck me about you two and what you're doing is I kind of see you as like builders in a way. And what I mean by that is you're kind of people who facilitate or create a space or somewhere to house something that other people can sort of, make positive change, really. And another thing is I think that it's really important to create kind of good examples. And I mean, I'm going to use the word role model loosely because I don't think anyone with ADHD would describe themselves as a role model. Come on.
You certainly
shouldn't. But what I'd say is I think it's really important for people to kind of say, like, this is what we're doing and we know we're not perfect and people make mistakes, but we're doing it anyway. And this is partly what your tour's about. And especially in this world where there's so many people trying to say, I am perfect on Instagram or social media or anything. There's this whole thing and setting standards that's not real. And to not be doing that is quite rebellious, really. And it's super refreshing. And also we grew up with phrases like Kate Moss saying, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. And, things like that are damaging for even if you don't like perhaps follow the person or you're not really into whoever it is, the phrases like that can stick with you for the rest of your life. And
it becomes part of the zeitgeist, doesn't it? And that's definitely what we're trying to do is open up that conversation and change the perception. So thank you very much for saying that. We won't take role models, but we will take rebels. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to be to contribute in the small way that I could, really. And it was just, lucky, kismet, timing.
We're really, really grateful. We absolutely love the illustration. So thank you so much.
I might have been a little bit picky about certain features and stuff.
Well, it's your face. You've got a right to. I'd rather have a brief. I'd rather have the good thing about you two is you need it. You knew exactly what you wanted. It was good communication.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you're an illustrator or a designer, you get an open brief. Maybe you run with it, and then you give the work back, and it's like, I don't know what I want, but it's not that. Like, that's not helpful at all to me.
How did you not read my mind? So tell us,
it was good.
You said you got diagnosed a year and a half ago, is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so what led you there?
Well, lots and lots of things, but I still see one of my really close friends from school, and she's another artist, and she got diagnosed. And at first, I will admit, I was a bit kind of dubious and a bit concerned about it. I know we spoke about it more, and then I was like, okay, this is me. I need to look into this. And then that's where it started. And I spoke to my parents, who I'm lucky to be really close to, and my partner and friends. And it was just a no-brainer, but pun intended. But so then luckily my parents were able to help me with a bit of money to get the diagnosis. I went private because otherwise there's no way I would have been able to. I went through the forms and everything, and then we had the interview, and I remember saying, because I'm combined, so I've got a little sprinkling of everything. She said at the end, you are a classic female with ADHD, which I found quite hilarious. Classic. So since then, I've obviously been reaching out a lot more to people. We're so lucky to have more online communities now that are available, and listening to podcasts and webinars and endless things. And I've also been trying medication, which I have concerns about, but I can't sort of argue with the results as well. So
what concerns, as in terms of the side effects, or?
Well, no. So what's been happening with me is basically I had a breakdown at quite a while ago. After I finished university, I went and did illustration at Brighton, and then after that I've always had a million jobs whenever I've been doing anything, but I was working really hard, and I wasn't drawing, or I wasn't doing anything creative because I was so put off by it, by the experience and by lots of other trauma that had happened before. And so I thought, well, I'll get into exercise because I'm not that happy with how I look. And then that kind of led to a eating disorder, and then came the self-harm, and then came the breakdown, and then I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression, like so many of us are, and kind of just went with that. And now, in the last few years, I've always been very dependent on alcohol, and I've used that to kind of treat and ease the ADHD symptoms, either to make me like more present or be able to sit still and for a few hours. And that's not normal for me, and I didn't realize that. But to be able to sit and even do social things in the same place with your friends, or someone who you really you actually do want to listen to, it's still a challenge, I find. And there were endless reasons for it, but when lockdown happened and I was lucky enough to be put on furlough, obviously none of us were getting out and about, and I realise now that a lot of my jobs, I've always had quite physical roles, but they've always been facilitating other people's creativities, and I've never pushed my own. I've always run festivals or like parties or events or whatever, and kind of have supported people from the sidelines, which I've loved doing. Hosting is a big part of my character. But eventually, I mean, a lot of that came hand in hand with drinking and excess as well. So I just knew that I had to bang it on the head. And luckily, it came at the same time as me and my partner we basically decided to move to Portugal because his family is over there, for one. And also it was the time of Brexit. So that really gave us the kick up the bum that we needed. And it was like, right, let's go now. Otherwise, if it hadn't been for that, and if it hadn't been for lockdown and all that crazy, crazy world, I think we would have just put it off and never got round to it.
Yeah.
So I'd only been to Portugal once before. Laura, this is probably a little bit similar to your situation. I'd only been once before, and suddenly we moved out there. So I've kind of been in between Portugal and England, trying to launch a self-employed freelance artist thing, which I'm so phobic about. And even coming on here and doing self-promo, I just like want to crawl back into my little hole.
Yeah.
And I've quit alcohol for, well, it's been 10 months now, actually.
Amazing.
And
Well done.
I wouldn't have been able to do that without, of course, the support of my very patient partner, for one thing, but without the help of the medication. But I'm still dubious, because I think this is very much, we're doing the best that we can with the information that we've got now.
Yeah.
But so were people in the medieval times. So were people in, But and also because of the addiction side of it, I think if you do have an addictive personality, you just got to be so careful.
Do you feel that? Do you feel like a draw, like an addiction towards not that you have an addiction, but can you see that potentially being an issue?
I think you can be addicted to anything. You can be even if it's not addictive. And for me, the worry is having another crutch rather than just kind of rolling with it. But again, like I say, I can't argue with the results. It has helped.
Yeah. Do you feel better in yourself, or your day is better? Yeah.
But I also think it's really good to have a break as well, just to see where, at the weekends I might not take it sometimes, just to keep one foot in there. I still.
That's such a good point as well. It's like, like you were saying, of course, we're only as far advanced as medical knowledge is right now. So, of course, this could be totally the wrong way to treat it. But here we are today. And this is the options available. You are getting good results. And you're right. Just take it as it goes.
And I think some of us feel that there's a lot of judgment involved when you are medicating yourself, or when you're getting help. And the thing is, if I always use this example, but if I had an underactive thyroid and I was having to have medication every day, I wouldn't feel bad about that.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's complicated, isn't it? We know it's complicated. And also, I think from people who perhaps don't struggle with ADHD and think it kind of is an excuse, or, whatever. It's like, just let us have whatever it's our bodies, just let us have whatever we can to help. Because without this, we're probably going to be doing some sort of damage to ourselves, indirectly or directly anyway. So
ourselves or others,
Yeah, exactly. So I think anything that is a relief, and if you're getting the results you want, then great. But just, you got to keep a weather eye on the situation, just like anything else.
I think, it's really important to us to break the stigma of all of that, especially in terms of, like, for example, if it was medication for depression or whatever, okay, there is some stigma, but not really in comparison. And actually, to our mind, to my mind especially, that there is no difference.
Yeah,
there is no difference. It's a controlled substance. Don't even get me started. But it really shouldn't be any different. You have this set of symptoms, this is the medication, the treatment that has had the best result. You have that set of symptoms and you struggle with X, Y, and Z. Here's the medication that will help you with it. And it really should be that straightforward.
Yeah,
I hope that we'll get there.
I do think things are changing quite quickly, because when I was put on, I did start antidepressants back when I'm 36 now. I must have been about 24 or something. And there was a lot of shame then. I can remember really having to pluck up courage to even voice it to friends of mine. And, what I was met with was like, oh God, that's fine. Like everybody's got, it was actually amazing, the response once you do open that dialogue. And I think now everything's so much more out in the open, and there is so much more information there that we can have access to. So that's good. Things are moving in the right direction.
I think, like, obviously there's stigma around things, and once you decrease that stigma, it's easier. So if you had an illness and you needed medication for it, and it was a physical illness, and there wasn't any stigma around that, like you wouldn't feel any guilt or shame around the medication you're taking, none at all. But because there's stigma and you can't necessarily prove it to the person you're sitting next to that you have ADHD, I mean, if they spent enough time with you, they'd see the proof. I'm sure, you know. But
I don't know if go ahead. Sorry.
You can't see it. So there's a lot of shame. It's just like, well, I'm taking this medication, and even for myself just now, I'm taking it and I can't really see big changes. Everything's very subtle, and I'm just like, well, it's like, is it working? Isn't it working? Like, it's hard to tell. But they wouldn't be giving me this medication if I didn't have ADHD, or they didn't think it would work. There's a reason they're giving me this medication, because there's proof behind it, there's science behind it, and so it works with the condition that I have. It might not work the same on everybody, and it might
all the same every day.
Exactly. But there's proof in it, you know. The proof in the pudding.
I don't know if either of you two have this, but again, this is like massively imposter syndrome probably, but like sometimes I kind of doubt again that I have it, and I'm like, but do I have it? And then something happens, or I'll say something, or I'll do something, and it's like, oh my god, absolutely. So now I've just tried to start putting a bit more of a positive spin on things, and I actually asked my partner recently, what is it like to go out to be with someone who is like this? He's an artist as well, and he was like, it's like going out with a 6-year-old that can drive. I was like, well, I'm really offended by that.
She's just a 6-year-old.
Just a 6-year-old.
I'm not going to be offended. I'm going to... What it's essentially saying there is that I'm fun but practical. Who wouldn't want to be with someone like that?
That is great. That's the dream right there.
Absolutely.
Can I just ask a circle back? But like, how do you feel in terms of, you said you struggle with some eating disorder stuff and some addiction stuff, and do you feel like the medication has helped with that? Are you in a good place? Like you said, you've not drunk for 10 months. Do you think it's helped?
The biggest thing that the medication helps with is my compulsive thoughts and action. So for me, that would be eating. Compulsive eating is, I just have it all the time. And if I don't take my medication, it comes back straight away. Now, I guess I could probably see really qualified psychotherapists or specialists and probably do work on that. But the fact is, I can't afford to do that right now. So at the minute, this is helping. But if I don't take that for, say, the weekend, then it does come back. And that is a concern because I am toing and froing from different countries. Portugal doesn't recognise ADHD. A lot of countries are so behind on mental health and conditions. So I can't actually get my meds out there. And because of crossing borders and it being a controlled drug, it's just a whole other...
Well, even with a medical letter, you can't?
Yeah, so, I can take my own medication out. Right. That's fine. But say if I was over there working and I wasn't able to get that back for whatever reason, I can't get them sent over. And I don't think anyone else can bring them, which is fine. But it's just like, I don't want to have to go through proving to somebody else that I have these struggles. It's hard enough the first time.
Yeah.
But I think
we are living through very, very strange times.
Yeah.
We say to ourselves all the time, we'll look back on this and be like, can you even believe we had to do this?
Yeah.
And it will get there. And it's a shame that it's us, but at least we're on the cusp of great change and not people that lived their whole lives and didn't have access to any help or knowledge about it.
And on that note, I will say, because I know it's so exhausting, the process, and for everyone who is waiting for diagnosis and is just desperate to try the medication, I understand how difficult that is. But what I've realised, having the medication and being on it quite a long time, is that might help with the physical compulsions that I have. But actually, the biggest help in terms of me moving forward with my life and attempting to do all these things that I perhaps wouldn't be brave enough to do is actually just the knowledge and having the research and the backing up that I do have this. I'm not a shit person. I'm not a lazy person. And here are all the people that are the same as me. Like that is almost, if not more, important than the medication as well.
Because it's all the
self-understanding.
It's all the stuff that we talk about loads about, you know, you having to unlearn all these awful ways that you treat yourself or speak about yourself or think about yourself, intrusive thoughts, etc. And at least with the knowledge, you can identify them as such, even if they do rise up again. So it's so wonderful to hear that you now have the bravery to put your amazing work out there. So tell us a little bit more about what you do, how you do it, and where people can find you and pay you to do the incredible work that you do.
Yes, please do find me and pay me. On that note, I was joking to a friend, like, I've never been in a situation before where I've not had any financial stability. I've not got a home at the minute because we're traveling, and I'm just not as stressed about it as I would be before I found out about ADHD, before when I was drinking and careering from emotion to emotion. It's just more it's a different bag. Still incredibly scary, still difficult, but at the minute, well, I'm focusing on my digital illustration, which is great because I can do that from anywhere. I've recently, with the help of my incredibly patient partner, I've built a Shopify account, and you can visit my online shop, which is Whisperworks, and that's Whisper spelled WISPA, whisperworks.myshopify.com. And actually, you can just if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, I'm Whisperworks as well. And then it's the same thing for my website, whisperworks.squarespace.com. And I've actually done a print on there as well that's related loosely to ADHD. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, then
check that out. Fantastic. It really is. Like, so happy for you. I really do. Like, stories are so similar. So I really feel you, and I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm at that part of my life, I think, where I'm like happy to be here. And so for so many instances, I haven't been, and it's been the opposite. So, it's good. It's good to connect and hopefully help other people as well.
We're so happy to connect with you. Thank you so much for reaching out, for being incredible, and thank you for speaking to us. And go and buy Charlotte's amazing art.
And if you've not already seen her work, then where have you been?
Where have you been?
Join me on Insta and we can have a chat. I'm happy to answer questions or anything. So I'm available.
Thank you so much.
Lovely to speak to you both.
So lovely to speak to you. And check out Charlotte's amazing stuff now.
Whisperworks.
Bye.
Bye.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF, ADHD as females.